I'm Christine Pitawanich with your weekly recap, where we catch you up on some of the biggest stories of the past week. Let's start with big news this week out of the National Transportation Safety Board, which released its findings on what went wrong when an Alaska Airlines door plug blew out in the skies over Portland. Investigators found there were systemic failures from the assembly line to FAA oversight. Tim Gordon has the highlights from the hearing.
On January 5th, 2024, at about 5:13 p.m. Pacific Standard Time,
the NTSB laid out the facts about Alaska Airlines Flight 1282, starting with heroism for those who got the plane down safely after a door plug blew out after taking off from Portland with 164 passengers on board.
I firmly believe there's one reason Flight 1282 averted catastrophe, and one reason only: the crew.
NTSB Chair Jennifer Homendy shared what it was like on the flight deck that January evening when the cabin lost pressure.
To quote the captain, it was an explosive experience. The first officer said it was chaos.
Chaos at roughly 15,000 feet. The cabin crew dealing with a gaping hole in the side of the plane, the pilots working to descend and land safely.
And yet the crew shouldn't have had to be heroes, because this accident never should have happened.
The board spoke with NTSB investigators about why the door plug blew out, confirming it was 4 missing bolts that allowed the door plug to slowly slide up.
And what was happening is it was gradually moving up, and eventually it wouldn't hold it any further. Is that correct?
That is correct, yeah. We saw the evidence of that in the materials lab exam and those seal marks.
There is a fix coming by 2026 to add an additional fastener and other improvements to the door plugs. Throughout the hearing, the NTSB pointed to several problems at Boeing, from a loss of veteran workers to poor training for new ones, ineffective management, a rush to produce more planes on the assembly line.
An accident like this does not happen because of an individual or even a group of individuals. Aviation is much more resilient than that. An accident like this only happens when there are multiple system failures.
And that includes the systems of the FAA, charged with making sure aircraft are built to safely carry their valuable payloads of people.
They really need to look at how they've conducted oversight in the past, why their oversight didn't pick up on deficiencies, and how to improve that in the future.
And that was Tim Gordon reporting. After the hearing, Boeing put out a statement saying, quote, "We at Boeing regret this accident and continue to work on strengthening safety and quality across our operations. We will review the final report and recommendations as we continue to implement improvements." In Clackamas County this week, a thief used a stolen excavator to rip out a bank ATM. It happened Monday morning at the U.S. Bank along Southeast Sunnyside. Investigators say the excavator was taken from a construction site across the street. Whoever the thief was, they used the heavy machinery to break the ATM machine in the bank's drive-thru and steal the cash drawers inside. We spoke with the construction company. They tell us whoever stole that excavator knew what they were doing.
But they were able to access the computer. They were able to change the operator controls to a John Deere platform, which is a different operation than traditional CAT platform control panel. And so they obviously must have had some experience in equipment to know that, and then just the ability of doing what they did at the bank.
So he says the excavator was a rental and getting a replacement will set them back a week on their project. As of last check, the thief has not been caught. The Metro Council voted to approve changes to the region's high earner tax brackets. In 2020, voters approved an income tax to pay for supportive housing services. Right now, it's a 1% tax on income above $125,000. That is for individuals, or $200,000 for couples. But starting next year, those thresholds will instead be tied to inflation and based on the average consumer price index for Portland. The move is expected to affect almost 90,000 taxpayers. The new brackets will be published November 15th of each year. The recruiting arm of Oregon's foster care system is reporting the best success it's ever had when it comes to finding new foster parents for kids. And they say it's all thanks to artificial intelligence. The agency uses AI and data to match foster children with potential foster parents in the same zip code based on who's most likely to provide a stable home. We heard from one foster parent who says she's glad that recruiters got in touch, even though she didn't know she was part of an AI formula.
I've got 2 kids. They go to school 5 minutes from you. Do you want to meet them? You know, and it's an overnight experience. You're like, I have a day to decide.
What we've seen is not just more families coming forward, but those strategic families, those families that really need to step forward to fit the need for particular children in particular communities.
The agency worked with Microsoft to develop the strategy. It has now expanded to Arkansas and Tennessee, and they're hoping to take it national. To Wasco County now, where 2 people are suing Union Pacific, claiming a train sparked the Rowena fire. Meantime, investigators have not yet given an official cause. Here's KGW's Devin Haskins with the update.
I cannot believe they have not shut this down yet. There we go. There's the fire.
The Rowena fire burned 3,700 acres and destroyed dozens of homes after breaking out near Interstate 84 on June 11th. A lawsuit filed Monday claims a passing Union Pacific train is responsible.
It appears that what happened is that the train threw off sparks, those caught the nearby brush, and because it was the red flag conditions, they spread.
The suit was filed on behalf of 2 local residents who lost property and had to evacuate. Their attorney accuses the railroad of negligence in failing to inspect the train and clear brush near the tracks.
And knowing if you're a train company that you have these engines and cars that can throw off spikes, you have to exercise significant caution here. From what we can tell, that didn't happen.
They believe it was sparks from a passing train that caused it.
Right now, the working theory is that in all likelihood, the brake was not properly set and released. And so that's likely what threw off the sparks. But we're not going to know that until our experts can physically inspect.
Union Pacific says it's cooperating with state investigators and said, quote, after conducting its own extensive investigation, Union Pacific has found no evidence to date that our train caused the Rowena fire.
I would have been very surprised if they would have said anything else. That's what a defendant in this situation pretty much always does.
Fire officials have said the fire was not caused by lightning and that it was human caused, but they say they haven't determined what officially started it yet. I'm Devin Haskins, KGW News.
In Lake Oswego, the city plans to close the only public access point to the lake over the 4th of July holiday. It is the latest twist in a recent issue involving public access to Oswego Lake. Access will be closed from Thursday, July 3rd through Monday the 7th. The city is citing safety reasons for the closure, which does not apply to anyone who lives on the lake. Earlier this year, plaintiffs won a long-running legal battle to open the lake to everyone.
For some reason, the public is perceived as not able to recreate safely, but on all other lakes and rivers and the ocean in Oregon, the public is apparently okay to do that. So I don't know what makes this lake so special and different that the public continually needs to be shut out of it.
The city says the holiday already puts a strain on police and first responders, and they don't have enough resources to protect everyone on the water. Speaking of the 4th of July, legal fireworks are now on sale in Oregon. And this week, the Oregon State Fire Marshal reminded people to be safe on the holiday. Fireworks like these ones are legal in Oregon, but if they explode or leave the ground, you're not allowed to set them off without a permit. Oregon has stricter rules than Washington. And as we get into more summer-type weather, the drier the vegetation and warmer the temperatures, well, it doesn't take much to spark a fire.
Disasters can happen in your neighborhood, in parks, in your communities, and in your driveways. Every step of using fireworks before, during, and after comes with safety, and it comes with personal responsibility.
The fire marshal says keep kids and pets away. Also have water at the ready whenever there are fireworks. Providence Park has been transformed from a soccer field into a concert venue. Post Malone and Jelly Roll are performing Saturday night in Portland. The CEO of the Timbers says the concert will be bringing more than 31,000 fans to the area. Nearby businesses say they're looking forward to more foot traffic.
So we're really excited that he's going to be across the street. I heard he's paid Mox Bellevue a visit a couple years back, so we're holding out hope that he'll show up here that night.
So we're really excited that we're able to now get some of these bigger stadium tours here in the city.
This marks the second year in a row that Providence Park has hosted summer concerts. Last August, the Foo Fighters were here, and just 2 weeks later, Green Day. Now let's get a look at your weather.
Haven't said this in a while, but from the Rose City, I'm Rod Hill, and it is a wet morning. We have had, going into mid-morning, 4 hours plus of absolutely consistent mist and drizzle. It's stacked up about 5/100ths of an inch of rain, which doesn't sound that wet, but these what we call drizzle storms can be particularly soaking, and we've got standing water in some of the pavement around town. So that's the way we're starting our Friday. The flow pattern isn't very different from what we've had the last couple of days. This is the third morning in a row that we started off with the low cloud cover down here. There's a second in a series of disturbances pushing into western Washington this morning, and it has played a factor in deepening our marine layer with those clouds thickening coming up the Columbia and then spilling down the Willamette into Portland. It has not been widespread here in Oregon. The Mecca Center has been, of the wet weather, Vancouver and Portland, which is kind of interesting. You drop down to Salem, our capital city, and it's just been dry and overcast. There you can see it right there. Early morning numbers been in the low 60s. And this is new today. So far this week, the last couple of starts with low clouds in Portland, we popped up the timberline, 6,000 feet. You're above the clouds, and we had beautiful blue skies. But this shows you how much thicker the cloud depth is down here in our state with cloudy skies all the way up through Timberline Lodge this morning. There is the drizzle storm mid-morning continuing. At this point, it's unclear as to whether Portland will be dry by the noon hour today or not. We certainly will continue to see the wet weather for a little bit longer. That's a Wells Fargo camera. It's one of the taller buildings in downtown Portland, showing you the raindrops on the lens. Futurecast shows a similar weather pattern to what we've been seeing, and that is cloudy skies up and down the west side. And we believe the clouds will thin out somewhat as we go through the afternoon, or at least lift, which would shut off the mist and drizzle, allow temperatures some warming. Now, if the modeling is correct, you get south of Portland, you have significant sun starting to develop in places like Albany, Eugene, and Salem, but could be overcast for the most part, continuing north up into Seattle. Our weekend forecast has not changed. This shows some cloudiness tomorrow morning, but then probably no later than the 10 o'clock hour, the Rose City, Portland will be getting some sun on Saturday, and then we'll leapfrog into the warmer weather pattern, getting up to 80 tomorrow. 7-day coming up here in just a second. So our Friday forecast, a cloudy morning in the Mid-Valley, but primarily dry. Thinning cloud cover would allow a decent warm-up. This shows Corvallis, Oregon State University, getting up to 77, and Salem getting up to 75. Southwest Washington numbers. Battleground 71, cloudy into afternoon. Thinning clouds later in the day, maybe, at least lifting cloud heights, which would bring in some drying and allow temperatures to be where they've been the last couple of days, and that's only sitting around 70 degrees. If you have plans to be here in our beautiful state of Oregon on this Friday afternoon, we will see sunny skies and 77 over in Bend, and Sun River will be beautiful. 70-degree temperatures, very comfortable in John Day, Baker City, and out toward the blues between Pendleton and LeGrand as well. We'll keep that rain chance lingering up here in southwest Washington over toward Long Beach and Astoria. All right, our 7-day forecast, here we go. Certainly the drizzle start. We would need some thinning, lifting clouds to get up to 74 this afternoon. Once we clear tomorrow morning, as I mentioned, I think no later than 10 a.m., Portland will be clear then for a number of days with the warm-up on. Back up to about 80 on Saturday. I'm probably on the high end of possibilities. So we may or may not make 80. We may or may not make 90 Sunday, but certainly even if it's 87, 88, you will notice, hey, it's warmer than it's been in a while, and I'm going to say Monday could be hot at 94. And then we're in the 80s with dry weather and mostly sunny skies into the mid part of next week. Wishing everybody a happy weekend.
And that's a wrap on your weekly recap. I'm Christine Pitawanich, and a reminder, you can catch up on the latest headlines anytime on KGW.com, your KGW app, or our YouTube channel.